Essential guide to navigating cells, rows, and columns. All right, let's talk about something that sounds basic, but honestly changes everything once you get it down: making selections in Excel. I know. Clicking and dragging. How hard can that be? But here's the thing. When you're staring at a spreadsheet with thousands of rows of sales data, those simple selection tricks suddenly become absolute lifesavers. Getting started with a real dataset. Take a look at what we're working with here. Standard sales data layout, column headings running across the top, and then row after row of actual information. Want to know how much data we're dealing with? Press Ctrl, down arrow. Boom, you're at the bottom. Just over 1,500 rows. That's a lot of scrolling if you're doing things the hard way. Getting back is just as easy. Ctrl up arrow shoots you right back to the top. And while we're at it, remember that Ctrl right arrow jumps you to the last column of your data, and Ctrl left arrow brings you back to column A. These navigation shortcuts, they're not optional anymore when you're working with datasets this size. They're essential. The basics: click, drag, done. So what's the simplest selection you can make? Just click on a cell. That's it. One click, one cell selected. Revolutionary, I know. But what if you need more than one cell? Say you want to format those column headings, make them stand out a bit. Simply click on the first cell and drag your mouse across the range you need. Once you've got them highlighted, head up to the font group on the ribbon, click the font color dropdown, pick something bold like red, and watch your headings pop. Honestly, it doesn't get much simpler than that. Click, drag, format, done. When cells aren't playing nice together. Here's where it gets interesting. What happens when the cells you need aren't sitting right next to each other? Maybe you've got data scattered across your worksheet that all needs the same formatting. Do you format them one by one? Please don't. Instead, select your first group of cells normally. Now, and this is the key part, hold down the Control key and make your next selection. Keep that Control key pressed, select another group, and another. You can keep going as long as you need. What you've just done is select non-contiguous cells. Fancy term, simple concept. They're cells that aren't neighbors, but still need the same treatment. Want to bold them all at once? One click on the bold button, and every single selected cell gets formatted. No repetition, no wasted time. Selecting entire columns without the drama. Now let's say you've got column J full of total price figures, hundreds of them, and they're all unformatted. No currency symbols, no decimal places, nothing pretty about them. You need to fix that. Are you really going to click and drag through the cells? I mean, you could, but why would you? Here's a much better approach. Click in cell J2, the first cell of actual data below your header. Now press Ctrl+Shift-down arrow. Just like that. Every single cell in that column is selected, all the way down to the last piece of data. From here, formatting is a breeze. Head to the number group on the ribbon, click that drop-down arrow, and select Currency. Watch those plain numbers transform into properly formatted dollar amounts. Beautiful, right? That keyboard shortcut, Ctrl+Shift-down arrow, commit it to memory. You'll use it constantly. Selecting entire columns and rows the quick way. Cell selections are great, but sometimes you need the whole column, like the entire thing, every single cell from top to bottom of the worksheet. Hover your mouse over the column letter at the top, say column A. Notice how your cursor changes to a little black down warranting arrow? Click once. That's it. You've just selected every cell in that column, not just the ones with data, every single one. Need multiple columns? Just drag across the column letters. Columns A through D, click on A, drag to D. Simple. And if those columns aren't next to each other, you guessed it, hold down Control while clicking on each column letter. Non-contiguous columns selected in seconds. Rows work exactly the same way. Hover over the row number on the left side until you see that right pointing black arrow. Click to select one row. Click and drag for multiple rows. Add Control for rows that aren't adjacent. Keyboard-only selections for the mouse averse. Some people just prefer keeping their hands on the keyboard. Fair enough. Excel's got you covered. Click in cell A2. Now hold down Shift and start pressing your arrow keys. Each press extends your selection in that direction. Shift right arrow selects the next cell over. Keep Shift held down, press down arrow, and now you're selecting downward too. Want to refine things? Use up arrow while still holding Shift to pull the selection back. It takes a little practice, but once you've got the feel for it,
Keyboard selections can be faster than reaching for the mouse. The magic of Select All. Here's something that trips people up. Ctrl+A doesn't always do the same thing. It depends on where you're clicked. If your cursor is somewhere inside your data, surrounded by information on all sides, pressing Ctrl+A selects all that connected data, everything in your dataset, from the first column to the last, first row to last. Super useful when you want to format an entire table or add borders around everything. But what if you're clicked on an empty cell somewhere outside your data? Press Ctrl+A there, and Excel selects the entire worksheet, every cell, millions of them. Not usually what you want, but good to know it's there. I use Ctrl+A inside my data constantly. Want to convert this data into a formatted table? Ctrl+A to select it all, then apply your table style. Need borders around every cell? Ctrl+A, then head to the Borders dropdown. The whole process takes seconds instead of minutes. Putting it all together. So there you have it, the fundamental ways to navigate and select in Excel. Click and drag for basic ranges, Control-click for non-contiguous selections, column and row headers for full selections, Control-Shift-arrow keys for data-aware selections, and Ctrl+A for selecting everything. These aren't just tricks to make you look fancy. When you're dealing with real data sets, thousands of rows, dozens of columns, knowing how to select efficiently is what separates a frustrating workday from a productive one.